This is The Wealth Puzzle with Michael Mansfield from the Lynn Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Michael provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is The Wealth Puzzle with Michael Mansfield.
Welcome back to The Wealth Puzzle with Michael Mansfield, and I'm Tana Pennington. It's been a while, but I'm back.
Yeah, she comes and goes.
I know. I've been busy, a little too busy, but we're back.
It's all right.
Oh, go ahead.
Tana. So everybody knows Tana's son, Owen, right? You know, he helps us here behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He's the smart youth that's bringing us to the 21st century or
Lots
whatever.
of energy. Yes.
He's graduating with a finance degree in a month or two. He's sitting for the CFP mega exam in a few months. He's going to be that young guy with all the energy and all the excitement.
Right.
And we've loosely touched on it before, but Owen unfortunately has some health stuff going on, and so Tana was MIA for the last week or two. She was with him for some surgery stuff going on.
Yeah, but I'm so thankful for everyone's thoughts for him and prayers for him. He's doing much better. He's, making a lot of progress. He's going to be in better shape. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's good that mommy can be there for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, his little wifey and everybody else.
I know, she's so awesome. She's a great
exciting
support for him. Good cheerleader.
Well, hey, let's get down to business. I was told by someone rudely a week or two ago that some of our videos are too long.
Oh, okay.
I said, you don't have to watch them all. Like when I get talking, it's just what happens. My videos are, heck, this is already a 2-minute long video. I feel like we just started it. So I don't know. So, hey, got a lot to talk about. Tana, you had a Medicare thing. So why don't you throw that out there so that I can get down to business?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the last week. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan that you enrolled in this last fall or previous to, and you are not happy with it, you want to make a change, this is your last week to do so. Give me a call. I can help you out, steer you in the right direction. Or if you are in a Medicare Advantage plan and you want to switch to original Medicare, maybe get a Plan G, a Medicare supplement instead, this would be the last week to do so. So give me a call if you need any help.
All right, good. Medicare public service announcement. Certainly let Tana know if you got questions about that. All right. Hey, on the screen for the people that are watching this, so you got to watch the show. It's so much better than listening to it. Interesting article I came across, right? So a handful of weeks ago, we put out a video kind of touching on deficit spending, the Trump tax cuts, which are horrific, and we were kind of going off of a theme of things we hear from clients about kind of that headline thought that, oh, those tax cuts are bad. Oh, the rich people don't pay nothing. And so earlier this year, we've put out some content that is very fascinating, right? One of those things we were talking about is, if you confiscated all of the money from the wealthiest 400 people in the world, how long would that run the government? Only 8 months.
Right. That was shocking.
Well, I was told if they just paid more, it would solve all of our problems. If you looked at the people in the top tax bracket, which is 37%, there's almost 1 million returns in the United States that hit that. If you just went to those fancy pants folks and you confiscated all of their income for that year, it would only run the U.S. government for 33 days, right? So the theme we were going with was, people can harp on the idea that tax revenue is not fair and the rich need to pay their fair share and all of these thoughts, which are all fun, great, utopian themes. The reality is that's not the problem. The reality is government spending is completely out of control. Completely. In fact, dang it, as I said this out loud, I had a great article. I got to find it. I was going to use it. I forgot about it. So look, we hit like the first trillion of debt in this country. Remember, the country starts a bajillion years ago, right? We hit the first trillion of debt, I think, when Reagan was president, in the 80s. Took a long time. At the moment, the United States is adding $1 trillion to our debt every 100 days right now.
That is so unbelievable.
What? Tell me that that's not insane. Anyways, I threw this up on the screen here. This is a fun article. So now that the people with the comments, who don't like tax cuts and whatnot, I thought that this was very entertaining. What this shows on the screen is the red line shows where the marginal tax brackets were. So when Reagan was coming into office, tax rates, the red line, used to be up over 70% in the good old days. And they fell dramatically.
Right.
And then they kind of went up, and they've been more or less the same for, let's call it 35, 40 years ish. And they go up and they go down a little bit. Now, you go back in a time machine. We can't remember before COVID, right? COVID started the new world, so we don't remember what happened before it. But back in 2017, those tax cuts were put in place that everybody seems to be harping on lately, on how bad they were and how all the rich people got all the tax cuts, and they're just sitting there, eating their caviar on their yachts and not paying any taxes. In fact, if anybody watched the State of the Union, I have to admit, feel like there was a little vibe there of all the biggest corporations pay no federal taxes. If you did your research, that might be technically true, but they put a caveat word in there, federal. See, when we all say taxes out loud, there's a lot of taxes that you pay as a consumer. You pay FICA tax, your Security, your Medicare, you then pay federal or state taxes, you pay your property taxes, you pay sales taxes, a lot of different forms of taxes. And so when the tax code allows for big corporations to not pay specific federal taxes, that might be true. But guess what? These corporations are also paying the largest, most dramatic share of payroll taxes. Oh, they forgot to mention that. They're paying massive amounts of local property taxes and sales taxes in the community.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All these things. They pay endless amounts, truckloads of money in taxes. So, gray areas. Anyways, this chart I thought was really funny because the blue line on the chart shows what share of the tax revenue is paid by the only 1% of our population, the top 1%. And you notice the blue line has been steadily climbing in the chart. In fact, where the word share is on this chart, probably if you went straight up from the A and the word share, that's right where those pesky Trump tax cuts went into place. And Tana, if you're looking at the chart, because some people can't see it, the top 1% income tax share, what has it done since those tax cuts went into place? I assume it's gone straight down because that's what was implied, right? Rich people
it's gone up.
Tax breaks.
And actually, it's gone up to its very highest mark.
Right.
So
they're basically paying half of all the taxes in the United States right now. It has accelerated dramatically in the last handful of years. So I thought that was just kind of fun, interesting thing that, in fact, the wealthiest people in this country are now disproportionately paying more and more tax revenue than they ever have before. And then when you overlay that with the last video we did, where we were showing you that the country's also collecting the highest tax revenue it's ever collected before, for the most part, that means in pure dollars, these folks are really forking over a lot of dough. Once again, this ain't the problem. The problem is the government. The government spends way too much money. I mean, heck, if anybody followed Joe Biden's budget proposal a week or two ago, he proposed a $7.3 trillion budget.
Right.
Are we taking crazy pills? We only collect 4.7 in tax revenue. Something's off there. So, but what do I know? That's basic math. Anyways, moving on. That was it. Right, we got to keep these. We're already at 9 minutes in our video. Holy
Hurry.
cow, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Hurry. So one of the things that is interesting is Mr. Fed just had a Fed funds meeting last week, right? Powell was out talking, doing his whole shtick. On the screen is where the Fed funds rate is. So currently the Fed funds rate is at 5.5%. The Fed keeps promising they're going to do 3 rate cuts this year. They're going to bring that Fed funds rate down to 4.75%. So they're giving you the inside baseball. This is good news, technically, because when you cut rates, you juice the economy. We believe at this point he is cutting in the summertime, June, July time period. That's when the first rate cut will happen. Because guess what? It is politics, right? And so if he cuts in the summertime, that's enough time for these to work into the economy, give a little burst of happiness to him and Biden to keep their jobs in November. What's amazing and terrifying is if you actually follow economic or inflation data, inflation is no longer really trending towards their 2% target. It's kind of
Right.
sticky. It's stuck right now.
Yeah,
And
about
so if
4,
anybody go,
4%.
yeah, what? You're right, Tana. How did you
Yeah,
know that? You
4%.
read, you had
I've been
read
yeah,
ahead.
I've been reading.
That's all Tana does is just calculates inflation. So like here's like inflation. This chart shows inflation data. So 3 years ago, you can see the points are a little higher, and now the points are a little lower. If I go to like a 1-year chart, it doesn't look like it's going down. In fact, it's been going straight up since October. Every month it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. There's where inflation is trending. Is that trending in the direction that the Fed needs to cut rates?
No,
Uh,
unfortunately not.
So I'm sure everybody was bored. So everybody ran out last week and they sat on their couches and they made their popcorn and they're sitting there watching Powell being interviewed, as he does in these meetings. And so someone asked a question and they basically said, what data are you looking at? Because the previous data that we're getting is inflation is not necessarily going down. We're getting these stronger reads on inflation. And I'm paraphrasing this the best I can, the way Mike Mansfield took it. But he basically said, we don't really care about any of that anymore. Those are little speed bumps. We're sure it'll all be fine. Have a nice day. Kind of terrifying, kind of shocking. So we're going to see what happens. I mean, unfortunately, as I said, I think that this is very political at this point. They want to cut because they want to keep their jobs. If they cut too soon and they spark hyperinflation, it's not going to hit till after the election anyways. So I don't think anybody cares anymore. But that's a very fun fact that we're watching. The reality is let's all be shallow. Fed fund cut rates. Geez, I'm not sure I said that right, Tana, but what did I say? Anyways, them cutting rates, like I said, will create a burst of economic activity. It speeds up the velocity of money, right? Mortgages are cheaper, car loans are cheaper. All that stuff feels happy wappy. So that might speed to some improvement in short-term economic data in the second half of the year. So that's certainly something that we're watching.
Yeah, and like refinancing old debt too, as well, as rates go down.
Yeah. And there's so many problems still, not necessarily in residential real estate, but like commercial real estate, it's still a chaotic mess.
Right.
This was another fun thing, kind of as we harp on, economic activity. In February, layoffs were the highest they've been since in a February since 2009. Remember, the first part of the year is kind of that exciting part of the year. It's a new year. It's new budgets. We can hire. Life is good. And they're like, everything's kind of loosely falling apart. So I don't know. I got more things to talk about, but I'm scared because I got yelled at about the time of this. Now we're at 13 minutes. So I don't know. Maybe the comments could be, what is a good time of a video? Maybe if we had a consensus that Mike, don't go over 45 minutes versus Mike, don't go over 7 minutes. That would be value add information for
absolutely.
us. But just a couple things we're watching. Obviously, Tan and I are very curious about what the Fed's going to do. The stock market has been holding up. Earnings have not been horrible, which is good. They've been hit and miss. There's different sectors of the market that are, functioning a little differently at the moment. Fortunately, we're starting to see some outperformance in energy, which makes us happy. A place we like to allocate and whatnot. But in any case, we're kind of in that gray area. It's as we've talked about, the three-legged stool. We've got a presidential election, which is only wrought with chaos at this moment. We've got the Feds possibly cutting rates, and then we got the potential that the earnings do hold up on the S&P 500.
Right.
It's amazing that we kind of thought our target for the year was about 5,200 on the S&P. We're already there.
Yeah.
So now things just get scary if it keeps going up here.
Yeah. Right.
Remember, stock markets don't move in straight lines. It's been going in a straight line for a number of months. So, don't be surprised. Anyways,
for a pullback.
If you got any questions, calls, concerns, curiosities, call us. Obviously, you can hit up Tana about the Medicare stuff. That's always fun. But our number, 805-500-7035. Visit our main website, thelindgroup.com. Otherwise, we should be back in action now that Tana's back in action. We're getting some videos out to you guys. So we hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.